for homeless veterans.
Yes.
Miss Monet, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us. And
Thank you for having us.
absolutely. Also, you've got some people with you. Tell us who they are.
Ralph Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Ralph Cooper.
we have Ralph Cooper, the Community and Residential Veteran Services Coordinator, Cloudbreak Houston, LLC, and co-founder of the National Coalition for Homeless Veterans. So we got some really heavy people on this call right now.
Right.
And the discussion is about 2020 is National Coalition Homeless Veterans 30th Anniversary. Why don't you start us off, Catherine, and tell us more about this?
Yeah. So NCHV was actually officially founded in 1990, and it's our 30th anniversary year. We're really excited that we've made it to 30 years, and, we've done a lot in our 30 years. I think one of the things that's really interesting, and Mr. Cooper can tell you a little bit more about this in a second, is that we were really founded because of some of the inequities that were existing at the time in terms of veterans experiencing homelessness and being unable to access the level of benefits or resources that they deserved. And I think one of the things that has been true of us as an organization is that we've continued to fight against those disparities and then work to ensure that specific populations of veterans that are still facing those inequities, even though we've seen progress in the broader veteran population, get access to the benefits and services that they need.
Yeah. Is there any distinction made between people who are honorably discharged and those who are other than honorably discharged as far as what access they can have if they are homeless? And I never thought about that correlation, but we had a caller in before that was talking about the other than honorable discharges and how that affects people. And I'm not sure if that's something. Yeah.
I can respond to that.
Okay. Yes.
One of the
This
things
is
that we did,
pardon me 1 second. This is Ralph Cooper, right?
Yes.
Ralph Cooper, Community and Residential Veteran Services Coordinator, Cloudbreak Houston, LLC, and co-founder of the National Coalition for Homeless Veterans. Thank you also, Mr. Cooper, for being with us.
Yes.
You're welcome. So one of the things that we did with the grant per diem and the Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program, the VA itself, and the medical portion, in order for you to get medical help, if you have other than honorable, or if you have bad paper or dishonorable, you wouldn't be able to utilize your benefits as your medical benefit. But what we did in the law for homelessness was, other than dishonorable, veterans can receive homeless benefits. And because dishonorable is you may have murdered somebody, or it's really any type of activity.
Interesting. It really is. So what is being done at this point?
In reference to
the homeless.
What do they do?
Yeah.
Well, if you're homeless, you can. The VA has made it understood that if you're homeless, you can get access to medical care. And if you're homeless and you're getting housed through the grant per diem program, you also can. You're not going to be turned away. You can be housed and be afforded all the benefits that go along with that legislation for grant per diem and Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program called HVRP. But also, if you do have bad paper, even all the way up to dishonorable, you can try to get your discharge upgrade. I mean, so because dishonorable is the only thing you have left that you can do is vote.
Really? Wow.
There's one thing here that this is the 2020. The year 2020 is National Coalition's Homeless Veterans 30th anniversary. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah. So
Wow. That started before the Gulf War, even, huh? That was back in the 90s.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
And Catherine is on, and she has done a marvelous job. We're working with our conference, which is virtual, and I think there's still some time for folks to look in on it. Kathleen, do you want to kind of bring that up to date?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are right in the midst of our 2020 annual conference. We normally host an in-person conference the week of Memorial Day, but this year we were not able to do that. So we are right in the middle of our virtual conference. It started on Monday, and there's still another week. But folks can actually, if people are interested in learning more and seeing what workshops are available or coming in and joining us by registering, you can go to www.nchv2020.com to check out the content. There are a lot of workshops that we've had on affordable housing development, on the labor market. We're having a few on specific subpopulations of veterans this week, and then a bunch on local innovations that are worth disseminating on a national level.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Where is that, Karen?
So it's all online. It's virtual. So if you go to www.nchv2020.com, you can look at the schedule, you can see if you want to register, and you can learn more about the event.
Fantastic, yeah. Yeah.
Plus, if you do register, you can also see past events. Is that correct, Karen?
Yeah, so that's actually true. All of the sessions are recorded, so even if you're coming in and registering after the event has started, you're able to go back and view all of the workshops that have already happened.
That's fantastic. That's a great resource.
Right.
Yeah, but there's one thing about HUD's proposed rule to rescind equal access rule. And the proposed changes will get rid of the ban on discrimination against transgender and non-binary people in HUD-funded shelter and housing programs. Can you explain a little bit more about that? What is going on with that particular rule?
Yeah, so we're happy to explain, and I think this is really an extension of, our passion at NCHV to make sure that no group of veterans gets left behind. I think what we know, at least from the little VA research that has been done on transgender veterans, is that 20% of the transgender veterans seeking health care at VA face housing stability. They're most likely to use specific programs like HCHV, SSVF, and HUD-VASH, and the types of programs that wouldn't necessarily put them in a congregate housing setting. We also have found, or VA has found, not we, but VA has found that, this group of veterans in particular, about 25% of them avoided shelter for fear of mistreatment by shelter providers and staff, just because people discriminate against transgender Americans generally. And so one of the things that HUD did in, I believe it was 2016, was went and put a regulation in place that basically said that any shelter provider or housing provider receiving HUD funding must serve people in the manner in which they request service without questioning them. So there shouldn't be any requirements that they, document that their gender now is the gender that they were born with, or there shouldn't be any undue restrictions on them in order to access shelter or housing. And HUD is actually now trying to roll back some of those rules and allow certain providers to say that as long as they've made what they're calling a good faith determination, they can turn people away if they don't meet or if they're not a part of the population that the service provider would like to serve.
Boy,
and that's hugely problematic.
That reminds me of redlining and, racial housing discrimination. It sounds like we're going backwards in time. And this is just absolutely horrendous that's happening.
So, it is, and one of the things that people can do, and I'm hoping that people are as horrified by this as you and I are, but one of the interesting things that you can do is you can actually go online and you can make a comment either in the Federal Register, or if it's simpler, we're a part of a national coalition called Housing Saves Lives, and you can actually go to a website. It's housingSavesLives.org, And it's got a whole comment generator where you can go in and actually submit comments in opposition to this rule. And the due date for that is September 22nd. So there are just a couple of days left for people to actually go in and say, hey, this is wrong. We think transgender people should have access to anything that they need to get housing.
Sure.
And we hope that your listeners will join us in these efforts.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, can you give us an update maybe on the housing situation? You know, how many veterans are still on the streets? You know, just give us some of the base raw statistics about what we're still facing.
Yeah, so at last count, the last data released by the federal government was data from January of 2019. We haven't seen the 2020 data yet, but in January of 2019, there were just about 37,000 veterans experiencing homelessness on any given night.
That's
Oh, my goodness.
one is too many.
Yeah.
But 37,000.
Give us that again.
37,000 veterans on any given night experience homelessness.
37,000.
Was that a result of the point in time count?
It sure is, Mr. Cooper.
Yeah. So actually, the number may even be higher because if you weren't in a shelter or on the street on that at that time when they counted then, so it may even be more. And one of the things I do want to point out, especially for you, Cliff, and me, is that the aging veterans are becoming a growing number of the homeless population. We are increasing because a lot of us live too long and insurances run out, other kinds of things happen, and you end up homeless. I often say, Dad, man, I messed around and lived to be 79 years old just to face homelessness if I live much longer, right? So it's a growing issue also.
I think I may not have understood you correctly, Mr. Cooper, but it sounded like you said that the problem was you were having is the same one I'm having.
If you live too long,
well, we're blessed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Be here.
Yep. Depends how you want to look at this, but I couldn't let that go past. That's right. Well, you folks are doing a great job, though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Because there's so much more to be done, and hopefully, there'll be a. Yeah,
Cliff, I was wondering, how can we as veterans who are out there help the homeless veterans? What can be done? Because it's not just a homeless veteran. Sometimes now we're finding families on the street.
One way we do it is through American Heroes Group.
Yes.
That's right.
That's right.
I just want to remind you of that, Doc.
Yes, sir.
But, but is there something else that Karen or Ralph that you think we can do?
Kevin, tell them about they can donate and help.
Yeah.
And donate.
Yeah, donate, sure.
And join.
So there are lots of things that you can do that are NCHV specific, right? Whether that means supporting our efforts with a financial donation, joining us as a member, or supporting our efforts in any other way. I mean, there are also local organizations in every community that you could donate to, and many of them are NCHV members who could also use the support. But I will give you a couple more things, particularly if you're someone who employs people or is a landlord. I would say choose veterans first, right? So if you've got a job, look around to see if you know a veteran who you can hire. If you have a rental property, see if someone's got a veteran who could take the property.
Makes sense.
Yes.
I want to thank both of you. You're doing a great job, and we will certainly thank you for giving us this information, and we'll be talking to you again soon. All right?
Thank you for having us.
Thank
you for having us. Okay.
And Cliff, I'm going to go to www.ncHV2020.com when I get home.
That's right.
Hey.
All right.
And listen, Karen, Ralph, are you all still there?
We're here.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Because we call. We still had some a little time left.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we can keep.
Do we have any call-in?
We haven't got any call-ins yet. We'll announce the number. In the meantime,
Yeah.
Ralph, give us some more information.
On what we can be doing
Yeah, and
to help out.
Yeah, and what kind of programming you have, and how can people?
Okay.
Yeah, how can people get in touch with
Well,
you?
in Houston, Texas, we have one of the largest housing programs for homeless veterans. We serve about 500 homeless, well, previously homeless because now they're being housed, and we have a transition program, a grant per diem program on site run by U.S. Vets, which has about 74 units with 2 or more people in them that come off the streets into transition and try to find them jobs and help feed them and get them clothes and get them back to be able to be independent livers again in this country, because as someone mentioned, one homeless veteran is too many.
Yes.
And so we sometimes get right from that group. We have housing, independent housing. Sometimes it's SROs, and they can graduate from the street through the program into permanent housing.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
A lot of our veterans out there who are homeless also, because of the kind of combat we're seeing right now. You have people who have lost arms and legs, and they have traumatic brain injury.
Mm-hmm.
And are you seeing more of that in the homeless population right now? And how is that taken care of? Because it seems as though they might need some kind of specialized housing or some kind of way of putting them in housing that meets their needs as well.
Catherine?
Yeah, so I think what I can say is that this current generation of veterans does seem to have some specific needs, but more broadly than that, I think just homelessness ages people, right? So
Yes.
You may see someone who presents as, a homeless person. They might only be 50, but they show up with conditions that you would normally see in someone who is 10 to 15 years older than them, just because being outside ages you that much quicker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think we have, as a national movement, made a lot of progress towards increasing our supply of permanent supportive housing, which is permanent housing that comes with supportive services and case management, kind of like the housing that Mr. Cooper operates on a day-to-day basis, so that we're giving folks more support than they'd get in, just your average setting.
Let me give a number. Mr. Cooper also mentioned was there a number they could call? They can call us right now, 773-591-1690. Somebody wants further information. 773-591-1690. Question to either of you. A lot of us, we're veterans, obviously, and we get a little, in fact, the Colonel and I were both in a news conference this morning. People get a little upset over what goes on now relative to the national government and saying all kinds of things to soldiers that certainly are not helpful. Do you have any comment on that?
Well, number one, because the National Coalition for Homeless Veterans is a nonprofit 501c.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
We cannot talk about partisan politics, but we can mention this, is that as a Vietnam veteran, I know when I came home, I caught hell from everybody. Mm-hmm. I mean, so, it kind of reminds me of what we went through. We were spat on. We couldn't catch a cab. I lived in Roxbury, Massachusetts, and you couldn't catch a cab from the airport. And so things like that, anytime they're disparaging men and women who put their life on the line, I mean, can you imagine someone saying,
Yeah.
I'm willing to die for you? I don't even know you, but I'm willing to die for you so that you can have freedom. And you're going to, because I didn't look a certain way or whatever, or you looked at me and, you know, you didn't go, you're mad, say things about me, disparaging remarks. That's terrible. So we don't condone any of that kind of stuff because we've been there. Vietnam veterans have already experienced that. And so to have these men and women coming out, these young men and women who right now that are dying for us, to have them even hear anything in the air like that, is horrible and horrendous.
Makes a lot of sense. This is a question that I don't know how it kind of fits in with this. National Hispanic Heritage Month. How does that fit in? Either of you?
Yeah. Do you see a special need, you know, because of the linguistic issues that are going on with some of the homeless veterans? And
Well, one of the things that we just had, COVID took out one of the greatest Hispanic veterans known, Carlos Martinez, who is a part of the GI Forum, which is a Hispanic-run agency. As a matter of fact, they're congressionally chartered. So we work very closely with them. They're all over the country, and so anybody who's Hispanic or wants to get involved at that level, contact the GI Forum.
Okay.
Yeah, that's that's really interesting because I'm glad Cliff brought that up because one of the things I was mentioning earlier was that we're one blood, we're one mission, we're one force, and no matter what branch you served in, as long as you put that military uniform on, you are part of my family. You know, a brother and a sister, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, no matter Asian, you are still part of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the blood still runs red.
That's right. That's right. Very, very, very well put. Okay.